The focus of the world's attention will be swinging toward the nation of Israel in a couple of days. President Obama is due to arrive there on Wednesday. So, not much more than 24 hours from right now, this long looked forward to visit will begin. Now, the real question is, what's going on there? Now, here's the way it's being sold. Oh, we're just going there as a listening time. Well, I don't really believe that. The President of the United States, especially this president, just going there to listen, I don't really think so. I think he's playing down expectations with the hopes of something much better going on. Now, Mr. Mahmoud Abbas, who has stalled going to the peace table for the last 4 years, is now saying, I hope we get to the peace table before the end of this year. In the meantime, the United Nations is working mightily on the behalf of the Palestinian people. Now, today we're looking at an article. This comes from Israel National News. UN demands Israel freeze all construction in Judea, Samaria. The United Nations has demanded that Israel immediately freeze all construction in Judea, Samaria, and parts of Jerusalem restored to the city in 1967 Six Days War, including those in the Israeli capital's old city that contain the holiest sites in the Jewish faith, the Western Wall, and the Temple Mount. The call, an echo of the constant demand by Ramallah-based Palestinian Authority Chairman Mahmoud Abbas, came from a team appointed by the UN Human Rights Council that presented its conclusions Monday in a report to diplomats in the agency's Geneva headquarters. You do realize that the United Nations has a headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, where actually most of the work is done. This is sort of the showcase headquarters here in the United States of America in New York, but much of the work is actually performed in Geneva, Switzerland. So that's where this is coming from. The article went on to say, in the report, the team also demanded that Israel begin to withdraw its citizens from Judea, Samaria, which is Yehuda Shamram in Hebrew. Earlier Monday, former Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman told journalists it was highly unlikely that any resolution to the Israeli PA stalemate in the next 4 years would take place regardless of demands by Abbas or anyone else. And, of course, he certainly was, including the United Nations. Nothing will happen in the Palestinian subject in the next 4 years, Lieberman said. That is my estimate. Anyone who thinks otherwise lives in an illusion. So the argument goes on. Now, why are we focusing on this today? Because it's one of the greatest prophecies in the Bible yet to be fulfilled, and that is that there will be a peace agreement of some sort signed between Israelis and Palestinians and also approved by the international community. And when that agreement is signed, if it indeed sets the borders between Israel and the Palestinians, and if it indeed places the Temple Mount under a sharing arrangement, then that will launch the final 7 years to the Battle of Armageddon. Now, hold on. That just came ripping off of my tongue way too easy. Did you hear what I said? When that is accomplished, that will mark the beginning of the final 7 years to the Battle of Armageddon. And it's at Armageddon that Jesus Christ comes back to this earth, puts down all human government, and it's during that final 7-year period that the Antichrist will be revealed, his religious partner, the false prophet, will be revealed, the mark of the beast will be passed out, Satan will be cast out of heaven and confined to the earth, the Great Tribulation will be instituted, and then finally, at the end of the final 7 years, Satan will be bound in the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. Now, I'm not kidding. I'm telling you, this is what is prophesied, and that's what's under discussion, and that's what will be talked about in 2 days. Now, when you wield the power of the most powerful nation on earth, the United States of America, you may go there just to listen. But who knows when you're going to reach in your box of tools and come down with a crushing sledgehammer blow. Now, I personally do not expect a peace agreement until after the war that kills 1/3 of mankind. Oh, no, by the way, that's going to be discussed as well. Syria, Iran, that war must come from the Euphrates River area. Oh, you're not listening. You're not listening, ladies and gentlemen. Focus with me here. Two of the things on the agenda when President Obama arrives in Israel about 18 hours or so from right now, because they're 8 hours ahead of us, two of the items of discussion will be the conflict raging along the Euphrates River, and the Bible prophesies a war from the Euphrates River that's going to wipe out 1/3 of mankind. Two, the Bible also prophesies this agreement that will result in the beginning of the final 7 years of Armageddon. Now, these are the two next major prophetic fulfillments that we can be expecting. And those are the two things that President Obama is going to be discussing with Benjamin Netanyahu and probably Mahmoud Abbas when he visits Israel day after tomorrow on Wednesday. So they're discussing the two greatest prophetic fulfillments immediately staring us in the face. No, you're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. President Obama, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and Mahmoud Abbas will be discussing in 2 days the beginning of the final 7 years. No, they're not going to say that because they don't base their discussions on Bible prophecy, but they will be discussing the final 7 years nonetheless. And the war that will kill 1/3 of mankind, the war prophesied in the Bible that will emanate from the Euphrates River. I almost wish my hand could reach right through your radio right now to make you realize this is prophetic territory on steroids. Our president, the President of the United States of America, will be discussing the events that will fulfill the two greatest prophecies in the last 2,000 years. He'll be doing that on a Wednesday. Will they get anything concluded? I don't know. Is there going to be a Middle East peace agreement? Absolutely. It's prophesied in the Bible. Is the war coming that's going to kill 1/3 of mankind? Absolutely. It's prophesied in the Bible. If you want to understand these things, we have a DVD called World War III. That's the prophecy about the war that's going to kill 1/3 of all the human beings on this planet. When will that happen? No sooner than tomorrow. Could be yet this year, could be next year, could be the year after that. I can't tell you, but we're right up against it right now. It's supposed to come from the Euphrates River area, and that's where all the conflict is raging right now, whether you want to talk about Syria or whether you want to talk about Iran or Turkey or Iraq. Those are the four nations that house the Euphrates River. Now, I would be horribly remiss if I did not talk to you about this. Yeah, but you've talked about it a lot before. I have, but 1/3 of the human race wiped out in one single nuclear conflagration, and I shouldn't talk about it? Probably should be talking about it every single day, because your only defense is to make sure that you are biblically born again and that you're ready in case you will be among that 1/3. You know, if you're ready, it don't matter, because to live is Christ, but to die is gain. But if you're not ready, it matters everything. If you've never read our brochure, What Do You Mean Born Again? I would urge you to get it today. Pick up the phone, call us, 800-END-TIME. It's free. 800-END-TIME. That's 800-363-8463. If you want to know more about the war, order our DVD, World War III. If you want to understand the Middle East peace situation, we have a DVD called Israel, God's Prophetic Time Clock. And it will tell you what's going to happen during the final 7 years, and it will talk about the peace deal that will lead up to that time. So let me tell you once again, World War III DVD, and then Israel, God's Prophetic Time Clock. I really highly recommend those two things to you. So pick up the phone and call us right now. The operators are standing by. We're going to be taking your calls on the program today. The number to call to be on the air with us is simply 1-800, pardon me, I told you wrong, 1-877-363-8463. Okay, I really botched that. Let me try it again. 877-END-TIME. 877-363-8463. We will be taking your calls in the next segment, but I wanted to give you a build-up. Now, another thing that's so interesting, it's almost Passover time in Israel, and this article comes to us today from Israel National News. Temple Times, Passover sacrifice nixed by government. Israel's veterinary services will not authorize the planned public ritual sacrifice of a goat in honor of Passover this year. Jewish groups dedicated to the Temple Mount and Temple Renewal are planning the sacrifice as a reminder of what Passover looked like in temple times. The ritual slaughter is to take place in Jerusalem in the Armon Hanetziv neighborhood opposite the Temple Mount. The organizations planning the sacrifice were unpleasantly surprised by the veterinary services response. The veterinary services has authorized previous sacrifices in honor of Passover, including one held in Jerusalem just last year. But this year, they said no. Now, why are they saying no? Because the dispute over the Temple Mount is heating up. Mr. Moshe Feiglin has been going to the Temple Mount praying since he was elected as a minister of the Knesset, because he now has diplomatic immunity. He's now going up there praying, and that's not been allowed for many years for anybody but a Muslim to pray. Well, now he's broken the prayer barrier, and the government can't do anything about it because he has diplomatic immunity. It's setting everything on edge because the Muslims say this is ours and nobody else's. The battle's on for the holiest piece of real estate on the planet, the Temple Mount. And you're watching it. It's all in the Bible. It's all prophesied in the Bible, and it's happening now.